Okay. And then the most important aspect is actually practicing your delivery, getting on your feet and actually embodying the speech, practicing how you say things. How do you do your introduction? What's your attention getter? What does that all sound like, right? And you should give a version of your speech. And it's okay, because we're doing extemporaneous delivery, it's okay if the speech is a little different each time, right? Because you're kind of figuring it out. You're kind of tweaking what's working and what doesn't work in terms of delivery, right? So you're giving a version of your speech. Over time, the speech should become less and less different because you've practiced it and you're like, oh, I'm going to say it that way, I'm going to say it that way, I'm going to say it that way. But so this might be a problem. You know you haven't practiced enough if you're giving these vastly different speeches each time you give the speech, right? You haven't made decisions about what you're going to talk about, right? And so you want to make sure you're at that phase where you can actually get into delivery because you've made those decisions about what, oh, I know my 3 points. I know what this point is about. And so it should be less and less different as you really refine your speech. Make sure to practice in stages. So yeah, practice the first section. So get that down. Practice your intro, right? Your intro should be a good attention getter that really pulls us in, and I'll talk more about the parts of the speech later on. But really practicing those sections. What's my intro, right? What's my body? What are my main points of my body? What's my conclusion, right? What's my plan for my conclusion? So really practicing that, right, is going to be key. And then you put it all together. You put it all together in your entire speech. But first you practice by section, right? Got my intro down, intro's down. Got my body's down. Got my conclusion, right? Then you put it all together and you practice it all together, right? Also, make sure to time your speech. You should know how long your speech is, right? The speeches we'll be giving for speech 1 and speech 2 for the informative and the persuasive are 5 to 7 minutes. You should know how long your speech is, right? So make sure to time your speech. And knowing how long your speech is important because I have people who they're like 2 minutes into their speech and they're still doing their introduction, right? Or they're halfway through the time and they're still in their introduction. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure that you time your speech and you know that it's long enough or not long enough, right? It also shouldn't be too short too, right? So you want to make sure you have enough to say, that your points are developed enough detail that you at least reach 5 minutes, and not too much detail and too much content that you exceed 7 minutes, right? So really practicing with a stopwatch timer will help you determine that, right? And the most important part, right, of giving a speech, or one of the most important parts, right, in terms of actually succeeding at public speaking, is giving yourself time to practice the delivery. Get up on your feet, move, practice in front of audience members, practice in front of friends and family. They used to say practice in front of a mirror. I still like that. Like practicing by yourself in front of a mirror can help. It might help to record yourself, right? But you got to put in that time to actually get to where you're practicing. You're practicing saying it out loud, right? If you haven't gotten to that step with your speech where you've practiced it saying out loud, you're not really ready to go. You're not really ready to deliver it. So give yourself that time, and you should be able to refine your extemporaneous delivery. Practice and prepared from brief notes. Again, right? That's what we want. Then the PowerPoint ends on some websites that can take you to some tips for good eye contact.